All right, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2003 Subaru WRX. Up front is a 2.0 liter flat 4 engine and down below is a 5-speed manual transmission. If you'd like to read more of my thoughts, head on over to carmarshal.com/overdrive. But let's get back to that 2.0 liter flat 4. The EJ205 for you Subaru fans out there that love your engine codes. And this does have a Cobb Stage 2 tune on it, which means it has an up pipe, down pipe, intake, and of course a tune. Now I actually really like flat 4 engines. I think they make a cool sound. I think they're unique and I think that they're different. The only issue comes is working on a flat 4 engine because your spark plugs are at opposite sides since the pistons go outward. Head gaskets are annoying, but of course that's just what I've heard. I've actually never personally worked on a Subaru. So if you are planning on purchasing one, do a little bit of research into people that actually have worked on Subarus and they can tell you better what to avoid and stuff like that. They're fun little engines. They rev to about almost 7,000 RPM, which is great, and most of the flat 4s do come with turbos. The non-turbo NA flat 4s from Subaru, kind of gutless. I reviewed a 03 Forester that was NA and it was pretty gutless, but with that turbo, it's not as gutless. All right, so like I said, Cobb Stage 2, got a little bit of open road here, so. Oh man, it's definitely fun. I apologize for the crinkling window tint. That was a previous owner. It's definitely a really fun engine and the boost doesn't really kick in. It sort of rolls into the boost and I really like that. Of course, a big kick of boost is fun and it's fun for people because you're like nothing, all of it. But actually for power, smooth is always going to be better. For speed, smooth is always better. And of course, you gotta love the blow off noises. This intake, I don't know what it is, but it sounds like when you pull apart one of those bendy straws. Listen. Ready? Like I said, paired to it is a 5-speed manual transmission. Because this is not the STI, did not have the 6-speed, unfortunately. But it's not a bad transmission. I actually like it a fair amount. The clutch is a little bit heavier than I anticipated. But that being said, it's not a heavy clutch by any means. And last but not least, as you guys should know, the WRX is all-wheel drive. Most of Subaru's platforms are all-wheel drive besides the BRZ. Everything else is all-wheel drive, even at the base model, which I really like. And Subaru's all-wheel drive system is one of the best in the game. It's one of the oldest, but it is really good. So let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 3 different gauges. On the left is my fuel and coolant. In the middle is my speedometer. And then on the right is my tachometer. That's all you really need here in the WRX. You don't need anything else crazy. You don't really need battery voltage or anything like that. On the steering wheel, I actually don't have any buttons, but it is a factory Momo steering wheel. So Momo is a manufacturer of a lot of aftermarket parts, but they also make some OEM parts. And here in 2003, the Subaru WRX got a factory Momo steering wheel, which was really nice. To the left, I do have a button for my fog lights as well as cruise control, which is super nice. And then on the door, I just have my switches for the windows, locking and unlocking, stuff like that. The nice thing about the windows is that they are frameless. So when you open up the door, there is no upper frame. I might be wondering, why is this a good thing? Well, in the wintertime here in the Midwest, your windows will not freeze shut because they are not inside of a frame. They actually don't freeze shut. The bad thing about that is at highway speeds, you do get a little bit more wind noise through that gap as opposed to a window with a frame. To the right, I normally would have a clock up top, but I actually have an AFR gauge. And then of course I have a Cobb Accessport because of course I do. Every single Subaru WRX has a Cobb Accessport put into it. And what this does is it actually plugs into the car. It's giving me real-time info right now, like my RPM, my vehicle speed, and of course boost pressure. This is sort of how you tune the car. This is how you switch the maps. You can switch different fuel maps, stuff like that. That's all done through the Cobb Accessport. That is an aftermarket part, but pretty much every Subaru owner that is looking to make a little bit extra power has one. Like I said, it's probably more rare to find a WRX without an access port than it is to find one with one. Down below the access port, we actually do have some vents and then a radio that has since been changed out because, like I always say, every early 2000s radio was absolute garbage. So it's been switched out for a Bluetooth and touchscreen capable radio, which of course is a smart move here in 2019. Then I have my air conditioning controls, nothing crazy here. I have AC, defroster. They're very tactile. I like the knobs, they feel solid, and I really don't have any complaints. Then of course I have my shifter. I like the leather shift knob. This is the factory shift knob. I like it. It's plain, it's simple, and the transmission itself is really notchy. It has a good feel, and I like that a lot. It does have 107,000 miles on it, and so far it still feels good. Then of course I have my handbrake, and my power mirror options are actually down here on the center console. Now the seats have a decently high bolster. I don't know why I said that weird, but they have decently high bolsters. They're sportier seats, but they're comfortable. Like I always say, I'm a bigger guy, and finding these sporty seats can kind of be hard sometimes. I feel like I'm getting squished, but that's not the case here. But I do still feel like I'm being held in more. They're a lot sportier, and I really like that. But speaking of seats, let's do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2003 Subaru WRX, and honestly, it's not great back here. The seats are fine. I do have a little center console here I can pull down, which actually has literally nothing on it. No cup holders, no container, no nothing. It's literally just a big old foam brick. But I've always complained about Subaru back seats. Up until literally like 2 years ago, Subaru has always made really crammed back seats. And honestly, this is actually a little bit better than what I'm used to. The seat is moved up a little bit forward, but Subarus don't make very spacious back seats. Especially in 2003, the 2004 that I drove, the 2005 Legacy that I drove, none of them have really good back seats. They just aren't that spacious. But that being said, the print from the front seats does carry on back here. I'm actually not that uncomfortable. This is one of the more comfortable Subaru back seats I've sat in. Headroom is actually decent, and you can fit 4 people in here pretty easily. Shoving a 5th in here, although there is a 5th seatbelt, would be a little bit tough. But that being said, it's not that bad of a back seat. I'll give it a thumbs up, but like a hesitant thumbs up. Overall, the interior is all right. I really don't think it's that high a quality. Subaru never really does have high quality interiors. And especially because this is 2003, the seats have this sort of fun, almost arcade looking pattern to it. It does kind of feel a little boy racer-ish. It's very clear that this car was developed and sold during the Fast and Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious era. But it's okay. I'm not complaining too much about the interior. It just is outdated personally. But I'm comfortable and I'm having fun, so can't knock it too hard. So let's talk about the looks. This is known as the bug-eye generation to Subaru fans because if you look at the front end, it does kind of look like a bug, and the retractable antenna does not help the bug stereotype. But I think it is a decent looking Subaru. I prefer the Hawkeye or Stink Eye generations over the Bug Eye. This is probably my least favorite, but I actually have a lot more nostalgia with the Bug Eye. One of my good friends used to have a white Bug Eye WRX, and so he would occasionally stay over at his friend's house, but he wouldn't do it with his parents knowing, so he would park his car at my house. And then he's like, hey, you could have the car for the night, do whatever you want. I need it in the morning, but you could do whatever you want. And so from time to time, every once in a while, I would have a white 2003 Subaru WRX to play around with. And this was before I bought my RX-7. So of course I was ecstatic to have a cool car to drive around. And that's the thing about Subarus, is that one, they're really easy to build power. I mean, you just get a Cobb Accessport and boom, you're already making a little bit over stock. And I think that's a big appeal to it. But also, because they're so easy to build power, they make you feel good without breaking your bank account immediately. I mean, there are definitely ways you can destroy your bank account with a Subaru, don't get me wrong. But you buy it, you get an access port, and you're pretty good for a little while. These cars make you feel good. And so while yes, the interior is dated, the exterior is dated, visually, this is a very dated car. But in terms of fun, modifications, this is still very much a modern car. And the last thing I'll say about the Subaru WRX is that the Subaru community is a great one. I often compare it to the Rotary community because it's this group of tight-knit people willing to keep these cars on the road. And so, of course, being a part of the Rotary community myself, owning an RX-7, of course, that's what I'll compare it to because that's what I have the most experience with. And so the Subaru community is a very tight-knit community. I mean, you see all the time, people have those stickers on the back of their cars that is like, this is my third Subaru, this is my fourth Subaru, this is my fifth Subaru. Also, I like pets and sports, which I think is kind of cool, kind of dorky. But it's a tight-knit community, and so if you buy a Subaru, if you get into Subarus, and you just start meeting people, you're going to learn a lot, and you're going to be accepted into a community, and I think that that's absolutely huge. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys learned something about the 2003 Subaru WRX. Thank you to Adam for letting me take your WRX out, but don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.
Aside from my soul.